It's a great day. My name is Che Brown, the happy entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we are on a mission. And our mission really is to empower, our mission is to inspire, and our mission is to provide you, that's right, you, the hard-working entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this episode, we have the one and only Eric F. King. He's in the building. He'll be talking about how to build credibility, authority, and influence in what? Sales. What's going on, Eric? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
Man, it is an honor and a privilege, a treat and a treasure. I couldn't wait for this conversation. And a number of folks are leading forward. They said, what? Influence in sales? Take a moment, if you would. And I'm just curious, why are folks in today's world still struggling to have a profitable business?
Well, I think it starts with mindset. That many people have the wrong mindset in sales, right? We are, as we grow up, we think sales is getting someone to buy something they don't need so I can make money. And when you think that way, you don't want to sell, right? I got into sales by accident. I didn't want to be a salesperson, but I was hired by a company, Xerox, and I wanted to be in marketing, but they put me in sales. And I felt the same way like everybody else, like I don't want to sell anything. But then the analogy I use is this: if I tell you to call an acquaintance of yours and give them $500, right? Just call them up and say, I have $500 for you. I want to bless you. You won't be nervous at all. But then if I tell you to call the same person and ask them to give you $500 of their hard-earned money, you will be nervous. The difference is in one scenario, you're giving, and the second scenario, you're taking. So when you believe that you are taking, then you do not want anybody to buy, like you do not want to sell. But once you have an offer, you have a product or service that's helping someone achieve a result or solve a problem, and you feel like you're giving, then sales becomes much easier for you.
Now let's talk to two different folks. I love that. Let's talk to the person that is a senior. When I say a senior, what is a senior these days? They've been in business, man, 3 to 5 years. This is what they do, and they understand the importance of sales. They might be thinking, man, I like what Eric is saying. Take a moment if you're speaking to them and they're like, wow, Eric, I like the credibility part. I like that you're not pushy. What can I do? And again, it's a loaded question, but just imagine they're better and they want to get a little bit better. What's 1, 2, or maybe 3 areas they should focus on for the seasoned folks who are not afraid of selling? And then we're going to come back to the other person that's kind of new and we'll talk to them. But right now, these are the senior folks. They're like, okay, I got to do this. What does he recommend? Where should I start?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, I always say you want to build rapport with the person you're speaking with, right? If not, then what you're selling is a commodity. You're just like everybody else, right? When it's all said and done, they'll say, you know what, let me think about it. Let me shop around, right? But if you build rapport and then you find out what they're looking for, you find out what their wants, their needs, and their pains are, you find out what their problems are. And then that's before you even pitch your offer. And then once you do that, then you're able to cater what you have to their specific needs. And that's how, your sales will definitely go up if you do that.
I love it. Build trust and rapport first and ask questions. And then we're going to go, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to find a little more about his background. I know you want to know who is this person, what makes him an authority on it. He's going to share that. But if you're out there right now, you're like, you know what? Revenue is important. And even if you're not new, I want you to listen to what he has to say to the person that's really afraid. And they're like, what's the first step that I need to take? Even if you're afraid to pick up the phone right now, okay? Even when you're not afraid, I'm not gonna say you're scared, but you're like, Shay, this is just uneasy. You've got Eric. This is what he does. Eric, take a moment and talk to the new folks who didn't think they would ever have to sell like you when we first at Xerox, but now they got to do. Again, a loaded question, but what's 1, 2, or 3 things you'd recommend to the newbie that's leaning forward right now?
Okay. So I think the first thing is you have to develop yourself, right? You have to believe in yourself, right? I always say, build yourself before you build your business. If you don't have the right mindset, it will be hard to sell, right? So you have to build your confidence. I've been in sales for over 20 years, and I manage salespeople. And the number one, I think, asset that people have that are successful is they believe in what they're doing, and they believe in what they're selling. The people that don't, it doesn't matter, how many strategies I give them. It doesn't matter. They won't sell, right? So you have to build yourself. Personal development is important. Reading the right books, listening to the right, audios or videos, and then you want to find a mentor. You want to find a mentor, whether it's somebody that you can meet face to face, one to one, or it's a mentor on YouTube or what have you. You need to find someone that's done what you want to do. That's how it started for me. I found a mentor, and it literally changed my life.
One of the things I admire when we had a conversation, and you're spot on, ladies and gentlemen, and we're getting into a little bit of your backstory, is you have this ability to help folks be able to communicate, to be able to speak, to be able to share their story or share the company story or the brand story. I know we're talking about credibility, but can you take a moment and talk about the importance from your perspective of being able to share your story effectively and why you do what you do, or them to be able to share the company story? So it's a two-part question.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, first and foremost, understand that whatever you're selling, other people are selling the same thing or something similar. So how one of the ways you differentiate yourself is your story, how you started, right? When you tell people how you started, or how you came by upon the kind of business you're doing, then they start to relate to you. Then they start to say, well, man, this makes sense. This is interesting, and they lean in, right? But if you just make it sound like you woke up one day and you want to make some money, it's not appealing. It's not appealing, right? It's funny because almost every business I've been in, I got into it because I had, there was an opportunity to help people, right? When in my younger days, in my 20s, I was focused on money. I was focused on making money, and I wasn't making much. I was really broke, right? But then when I started focusing on helping people, solving problems, the money started rolling in, right? So sometimes it takes people a long time to figure that out.
I love it, man. Spot on. They're curious now. I mean, everyone has not read your bio. There's someone right now. Some of them have. They read your bio. They've already been on your website. They couldn't wait to be here. And there's another group of folks that are like, Shay, I don't know this person. I know the world know who he is, but I need him to tell me a little more about his backstory. And then what was that defining moment? We said, you know what? I can help people in sales, and I can help them be a better effective communicator. So you know the question. Who are you? And then what was that defining moment? You said, this is my jam.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, growing up, my dad was an entrepreneur. Okay, he was a realtor. He had a real estate agency. So, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I didn't know that's what it was called, right? I just knew that he was helping people sell the houses, and he was training people, and had people working for him. So, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Wasn't sure what I was going to do. I went to college, and I majored in marketing because I wanted to be behind the scenes, right? The people that put the billboards together, things of that nature. And then I got a job with Xerox, and at the time, Xerox was the top 100 company in the country, very very prestigious company. And they told me that there are no spots available in marketing, right? So they said we can put you in sales, and I was devastated because this guy did not want to sell. I didn't want to sell anybody. I didn't even like salespeople, right? So I was devastated. So I called my dad and I asked him. I said, look, what do I do? Like, do I take this job or not? And he said, yes, take the job, because even if you don't end up in sales for your career, you can use those skills in anything you do in life. And then, so when I started, my first 60 days, I didn't sell anything. Back then, you can sell copiers, you can sell paper, you can sell toner. I couldn't sell anything, and I was about to be fired. And I asked my dad, should I just quit? And he said, no. He said, find somebody who sells the way you are comfortable selling. Okay. And shadow that person and learn from them. So this guy, his name is Brian. He was actually the top salesperson. I started to shadow him. Okay. That's a fancy word of saying I started to follow him. And I found out something very interesting. He wasn't actually selling. He would go around, he would make friends with people, get to know them, find out what their problems are, and then just make a recommendation. And because they trust him, they know him, they trust him, then they buy. And I was blown away. Like literally, after getting to know people, right? He would take out. Back then, it was a yellow pad. We didn't have iPads and stuff like that. And then he would say, "Okay, based on what you told me that you guys need, here's what I recommend." And he will start ticking it off for them. So, either this copy or this copy. Which one do you prefer? And he'll like that one. He'll tick it off. And then so you'll probably need some toner, right? Do you want 4 months or 6 months? They're like 6 months. He'll tick it off, right? And he's ticking all this off, and by the end of the day, he makes a sale. And I'm like, wow, right? But the reason he was able to do that, he got them to know, like, and trust him. He found out what they wanted, and he didn't sell them something they didn't need. So when I saw that, I said to myself, that's like being compassionate, like helping people out. He said, exactly. And that's when I created my system of compassionate sales. Some people call me the compassionate closer. And within 16 months, I was one of the top salespeople in the whole region. And that, to me, that was a light bulb. And I said, you know what? I can do this. I can do this. And then, I moved up to vice president of sales and went to, a few companies. And then when I became an entrepreneur, I used the skills I had as a salesperson to build my business. And then I found out that a lot of entrepreneurs don't actually believe they're in sales. They say, "Well, Eric, I'm not a sales guy. I just own a business." And I'm like, "That's exactly what you are. You have to sell it. So be proud of saying, yes, I sell my offer because you're helping people. Because sales is service. Sales is service." And that's basically how I got into it. And then I got into I started doing a lot of podcasts, right? A lot of online summits to promote my business, and I was doing well. And then I stumbled one day. I was watching Anthony Robbins, on a big stage with those big life-size Zooms, and I saw him, and I saw Lisa Nichols, and I said, I want to speak on one of those stages. And that's how I started my business now, where I help coaches and authors speak on these big stages.
You can't just drop it on us like that. Say, I just help authors and speakers and coaches get on big stages, by the way. We were so into the story. Ladies and gentlemen, don't worry. I'm not going to let him leave you hanging on this, okay? Take a moment and talk about the importance of speaking for the business, because they are the chief salesperson. I'm going to frame it for you, speaking for the business. And then part two of that, don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, he can handle a two-part question. And then part two of that, being able to speak in a studio that puts them in the light, that makes them credible and influential while someone is watching them teach what they teach. So two-part question, speaking for the business as an entrepreneur or CEO. And then the second part, being able to do it in a virtual stage or a virtual event that allows them to reach a much larger audience.
Absolutely. So the number one income generating skill you can have is speaking about your business. A lot of people hide behind social media, right? They're like, hey, if I just post every day, I'll be good. No, you won't. You need to talk to somebody. You need to talk to somebody, right? So you want to learn. There's high touch and high tech, right? High tech is great, but the high touch is what actually makes you the success that gets you to become successful. So yeah, so you should spend 80% of your time actually promoting your business. So that is speaking about it, speaking about the benefits that your clients get from using your service or using your product, right? Um, and here's the thing: people, for some reason, feel maybe shy or sheepish about promoting themselves, but they'll promote other people. Someone was telling me the other day. He said, Eric, I don't really like posting every day because I don't want people to think I'm giving them too much information. And I said, well, let me ask you a question. Do you think Coca-Cola does ads every day? And she said, yeah. You think McDonald's, did they do ads every day? It's like, yeah, there you go. You have to continue to share what you do. Now, there is a caveat. If you're talking about online marketing, it's important to give value. So you're not pitching every day, right? So that's important, right? If you're pitching every day, nobody will watch your videos, right? But if you're given valuable information on a regular basis, and then from time to time, hey, you can drop an offer. That's when people will really, really want to get what you have because they've seen the value. they've seen the value. And I think it really hit home for me once when someone booked a call to meet with me, and we're talking, and he told me, he said, you know, Eric, you don't really have to go into what you do. Just tell me how much it is. I'm ready to buy right now. And I don't usually do that, but hey, when someone wants to give you money, you take it, right? So I was like, okay, this is it. So he bought it. And then later I asked him, why would you get my coaching program when you don't even know what it's about? He said, well, because I have been seeing you online. I've been watching your videos. I've learned so much from you for free. So I know it's going to be worth it if I pay.
And now here you are doing what you preach, which is build credibility. And that's one of the ways that you and I were able to meet, by the way. So awesome. I love what you're doing. I love the brand. I love helping entrepreneurs reach a much larger audience. This is a perfect segue into a segment we have called Today is My January 1st. Because right now his life's been perfect, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if he's ever had a setback in business or life, but we're going to find out. But for those folks that are tuning in for the very first time, welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show. Today is my January 1st is our personal mantra. Now, for those that show up every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you know what we're about to do. You can go ahead and say those magical words. It don't matter what day it is. Today is my January 1st. And then for all the new folks, here's what it represents. It represents a fresh start. It represents a do-over. It means our past, no matter how dark and gloomy that past is or how bright and sunny that past is, the past no longer equals the future. And so my question for Eric F. King on the other side is really twofold. Number one, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what do you hear? What do you hear? And then what was a time maybe there was a setback in your life, if any? And how did you bounce back from it?
Yes, yes. Well, I always say today is the beginning of the rest of your life, right? A lot of people like to think about the past, but today is actually the beginning of the rest of your life, right? So for me, my biggest setback was when I had I have family issues, was more family issues like relationship issues, and it affected my business. And the reason it affected my business is because I did not have a team in place. One of the things as you build your business and you build it bigger and bigger, you want to have a team. You want to have people that are working with you, right? You all have the same goals, people that are experts at certain areas, right? Like for instance, I can do videos all day, but I can't edit them. I'm not good at that. So I got someone to edit the video, right? So you want to have to build a team to help you get to your goals. And that, I think that's one of the things that really helped me to take my business to a whole new level.
I love it, by the way, the whole new level and exactly what you're doing now, which is making a difference not only for yourself, but for other folks out there. You know, what do you enjoy most about what you're doing right now? One of the things I've enjoyed when we have our conversations, you seem happy. You seem like you're having fun.
Yeah.
What do you enjoy most about what you're doing these days?
Okay. I love helping people achieve their goals and their dreams. That's what I love. I get a lot of gifts, and my 11-year-old, he says, "Well, Dad, like you get all these gifts, like pens with your name on it, and all kinds of stuff that people send." He said, "Well, don't they pay you for what you do? Like they just give you gifts?" I said, "No, they pay me, and then they give me gifts." He said, "I want to do what you're doing." But here's the deal. When you can serve people, right? You can serve people and they're so appreciative, right? That they give you the gifts, that they recommend you, then that's the place to be. The reason why I started speaking in the studio is because I wanted to elevate my business, right? But then when I saw that I basically 7x my business, or at least at the event I did, I had like times seven in terms of how many people opted into my coaching. So I said to myself what Zig Ziglar said many years ago: if you help enough people get what they want, you'll have everything you want. And that's when I started inviting others to speak on my stage. And basically, when they speak on this stage, it's something most of them have never done before, right? Number one, they're speaking to a new audience. They're speaking in this beautiful studio with these large zooms. It's almost like they're on TV. Some of their family members think they're on TV, right? I'm helping them brand themselves because their name is in lights, right? Helping them brand themselves. I'm giving them the videos and the pictures and all of that, and the reels, and then we get to hang out, right? All the speakers, we get to hang out. So like we go to dinner like for 2 different days. So you get to learn from each other in a mastermind, right? So I tell people it's not a speaking engagement, it's a speaking experience because it's for multiple days, right? And then I also give my speakers an award for their past accomplishments, right? So people that have never coached anybody or never actually helped anybody, they don't qualify to speak on my stage because you have to have had some kind of experience helping people, right? And that's part of the credibility, right? That I help you get the credibility, the authority. When people promote you, when people edify you, that gives you credibility, that gives you authority. And then people are more likely to buy from you when they've heard good things from other people, right? It's people say, well, Eric, I do lives, every other day, and that's great. But when you do a live, nobody promotes you. It's just you, right? And the more you talk about yourself, the more it seems like you're bragging. So you want to put yourself in the positions where you're speaking one to many, and other people are promoting you. That gives you a lot of credibility.
Spot on, man. I love it. When I get a chance to ask this question, we have a few minutes. I love to ask it, which is you've had so many mentors along this journey, but the question is going to be what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given? And I'll frame it for the audience so we kind of understand when I ask you to come off the mountain with the 10 Commandments here, okay? It's not what we're asking you to do. And we understand you've had countless mentors, you've read many, many books. Maybe like me, you may forget how many hours of videos you've watched these days. But if you had to step back and say, wow, here's one of the best pieces of advice I've ever been given, what is it? And how does it benefit those folks that are watching and listening right now?
Someone told me many years ago when I was in my early 20s, when I was complaining about everything, I was complaining about everything. And he said, for things to change, you have to change. You have to change your mindset. And he gave me, yeah, it was cassettes back in the day, to listen to thought leaders like Jim Rohn and Les Brown, and it changed my life the way. And I'll give you a practical example. When I was starting this new business, studiospeaking.com, I talked to some people, right, about it. The first lady I spoke with, she's very successful. She said, "Oh no, that probably won't work because speakers won't pay to get on your stage," right? I said, okay, so I'm listening to her. And then I talked to several people and they're like, well, do you have any examples of people on your stage? No, not yet. Like, okay, I'm not interested. So I go to 10, 20, maybe 30 people. Not interested. Okay. But I already believe in myself. I believe in what I'm doing, right? So the no's didn't matter because I've been there before. I know how it is, right? And then one person said yes, and then two people said yes, and then three people said yes, and then now every day someone is sending me a message inquiring about speaking on my stage, right? But it's because I changed my mindset. If you think like everybody else, you'll have what everybody else has. I thought differently, and that has served me well in every business I do.
Love it, man. Thanks for sharing with us. What does success look like for you these days, man? For where you are in your life and your business?
Well, for me, success is time freedom with my family. Like I love to hang out with my boys. They're all athletes. It's funny, my dad was an athlete and I wasn't. So it skipped a generation. I feel like I need therapy. I'm so mad. So, but yeah, I spend a lot of time going to soccer practice and taekwondo and all of that. So when you're able to help people, you'll be blessed too. When you bless people, and it's just being an entrepreneur, being able to set your own hours. It's a blessing. It truly is a blessing.
Yeah, it is. As we come down the home stretch, two-part question. Well, first, what do you do for fun when you're not out saving the world, man? Helping people record in studios.
I love to travel. I actually love to travel. Yes,
Okay,
I've
what's
traveled
one
all
place you
over
can't leave us hanging? What's one place you like to travel to?
I've traveled to or where I want to go.
That you have traveled to?
Oh, South Africa. That was fun. That was fun. Yeah, going to South Africa, seeing the jail cell where Mandela stayed for like 27 years. Like it's just it's another world, right? I think people should, as much as possible, should travel. We go to Mexico, we go to Canada, we travel all over the world really, and it's and that's another thing the business allows me to do. I don't have to take time off or anything like that. I can schedule my business around my life, right? Helping people along the way. Yeah.
Wow, that's a great place to be in, man. As we come down the home stretch, a two-part question. Number one, how can folks best connect with you so they can stay in this conversation after today? And number two, what type of clients are you looking to work with, if any, these days?
Sure. So for the best way to learn about what I do is go to studiospeaking.com, studiospeaking.com. That gives you'll see speakers. You'll probably see like 15, 20 people talk about the experience. And yeah, I have an event coming up in February. So our first event of the year. That's the biggest event usually. So if you are a speaker, coach, author, and you want to get the word out about your business, then book a call and we can have a conversation. So that's how to reach me. And I'm really on all social media, Eric F. King. Don't look for Eric King. You'll find a couple hundred of them. Look for Eric F. King, and I'm the only one on YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok, all of those. I'm not on Twitter, but I'm on everything else.
How cool is that, man? Let me say two things. Number one, thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. I know you can always make more money, but you can't make more time. So you're giving us the most precious resource you have, which is your time. So thank you for being on the show, man. We appreciate you.
Yeah, and thank you for having me. You guys, you do a great job. I love watching your videos. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
all that
Thank you so much. And thank you, the viewers. Thank you for tuning in, by the way. It's an honor and a privilege to be streaming right now into your home. So thanks for inviting us into your home. We appreciate you because without you, we really don't have a show, by the way. And I never get tired of reminding you every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time that you really are special. You're different. You're unique. You're an amazing person. That's not a lot of hyperbole or fluff. It's the truth. And that no matter what's going on in your life right now, whether you're doing really well and there's another level you're going to, or life's hit you with the punch you never saw coming. The one thing I do know is that today is your January 1st. And because of just that one reason alone, I believe your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. With that being said, my name is Shay Brown. It hadn't changed. The Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. We'll make some good things. How we connect again next time. God bless. Peace. Thanks a lot, man, for joining. We'll see y'all again soon. Bye-bye.